Man, take the weight off and live your life to the fucking fullest. Do not allow people, places, or things to hold you back. And you know what's crazy? At least for me, I don't even think it usually be other people or things outside of me holding me back. I feel like it be myself. You know, my own self-limiting beliefs, my own heaviness that prevents me from doing certain things. I don't think that there's ever like a right time for certain things. Like, of course there's times where things may work easier, you know, but I think a lot of this path and a lot of this journey comes down to your ability to just put one foot in front of the other in the right areas and be confident in your ability to do so. You can spend so much time doing the right things, but not being confident about what you're doing. So since you're not being confident, you're not necessarily doing it the right way. You're not doing it to your fullest capabilities. You're not doing it to your fullest strengths because a part of you doesn't even believe that it's possible. A part of you doesn't even believe that it's an avenue or an option for you. So the moment that we start hitting at our subconscious beliefs and we start working through it, we got to practice making life easy, So like if you have a goal, right? Let's say it's content, right? All that time that you're sitting there having pressure and like overthinking the process about like, what do I post? What am I gonna post? Is this something that my audience is gonna like, etc.? Sometimes all you gotta do is just turn on the camera and then just start talking. And it's gonna naturally come out of you. Sometimes it'd be the same thing with music, if there's any like creatives or anything like that. Sometimes you just got to get your ass up in a booth. Sometimes you just need to pick up the pencil and the paper and then just start writing something. And as you're writing, as you're talking, it's naturally going to flow. Your energy going to open up. That's why I'm saying I believe a lot of this is just knowing how to open your energy up and make things simple. Even when you're building like a business or something like that, it's going to be hard at the beginning because you're like, damn, I feel like I'm pushing myself. I'm out my comfort zone, all that other type of stuff. But then once you start realizing like, okay, just the process of me doing it, I'm learning and I'm becoming more confident just off the fact that I started. You start realizing that confidence is built from your ability to figure it out. Confidence isn't, I know everything. Confidence isn't, I know how to do it exactly. No, confidence is I trust myself to figure it out. I have enough inner strength to know that I'm not stupid. So I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. And once you embed that headspace, you start figuring it out a lot quicker than normal. Something else I want to talk about is making sure that you're going after the right though. I think a lot of us, we give ourselves like empty goals. We listen to other people like, oh, this is what everybody else is doing, or this is what my mom wants me to be, this is what my dad wants me to be, blah, blah, blah. We start comparing ourselves to our friends, and sometimes, and be honest, we be out here picking career paths and all this other type of shit solely because of how much income Google says that it can make. We Google the annual salary, and if it's high enough, we're like, we want that. No, stop that shit. The reason I say that is because it's a lot more productive and beneficial when you're doing aligned things, right? So if you're just going outside to party and all this other type of shit, then no wonder you're going to be lacking motivation. You're going to feel like shit, you're going to keep attracting terrible relationships. But if you're doing the right shit, intentful things that's purposeful to you. Like, let's say you are creative once again. You like doing music. You like doing content. Let's say you're like a family person or something like that, whatever. Maybe, that's crazy. That woman walking past is that was like spirit aligned. I was literally about to say like maybe one of your purpose like things is being a great mom, being a great wife or something like that, You got to focus on those healthier routes than just simply trying to have fun. Because I think that's honestly, too, where a lot of people up is usually in their earlier stages. Like, yes, your childhood plays a part, right? But then once you're in your 20s, that's your first lick of adulthood, So the things that you embed during those earlier stages, it becomes kind of harder for you to outwork that or outprogram those things as you get older. When you're young, you're just running around this bitch. You don't really got no like direct. I'm not gonna say you don't got no direction, but you're just living. You're just trying to have fun. You're not really trying to, you're not really thinking that far deep. Like, you know, at some point you're gonna get old, and you know at some point you don't want to work and all this other type of stuff. But when you're 20, you're just like, man, this is just so much weight. I'm just about to distract myself, which is what most people do. But then in the 20s, that's where a lot of us start, because then we start having kids, we start deterring from our goals, we start, you know, giving. It's usually those two. If I'm being honest with you, it's usually those two. And the moment you start doing that, it makes it hard for you to kind of like live, you know? Now, this is another thing. Don't lose yourself in no relationship. Ever. Like, if you know, okay, you need to figure out who you are, and you need to know who you are before you even get into a relationship. So you need to get to a point in your life where you're like, okay, this is what I like to do. Like, let's say your name is Jessica. Okay, Jessica likes to write. Jessica likes to play sports, and Jessica loves the gym because it keeps Jessica's head on straight and it gives Jessica peace of mind. When Jessica gets into a relationship, Jessica better be disciplined the fuck enough to not stop the shit she was just doing. Jessica needs to stay on that path, because if Jessica stops the exact that made Jessica feel like Jessica, all because she got in a relationship, and the relationship is going to dominate her, and she's going to lose herself in the relationship, and she may end up resenting that man. Never lose yourself, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Don't lose yourself to nobody. You gotta have a certain level of focus. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want my life to go. And hopefully you match with somebody who kind of wants to go in the same direction that you want, you know, so you guys are like two pieces of the same puzzle. But you shouldn't be in a predicament where some trying to go that way and you're trying to go that way, because I don't care how much you guys like each other, how intense the connection is and all that type of stuff. If you guys don't view life from the same lenses, truthfully, honestly, and realistically, then it's not going to work. And crazy enough, you can see if you guys view life from the same lenses, just solely based on actions, you know. If y'all say, oh, we're an ambitious couple or something like that, and we want to have property and all this, blah, blah, blah. If he's not actively working towards that lifestyle, then it's just talk. If you talk to a woman and she's like, oh, I want to be soft and I want this soft life and all this other type of stuff, I want to be treated like a princess, but you don't see her doing no therapy, you don't see her doing no healing, you just see her going outside and partying and having fun and making dudes pay for all her shit. Pay attention. You get what I'm saying? When it's two people who are actually aligned and they're being truthful, not just, you know, talking the right, giving you the right game, giving you the right ism. I mean, actually stepping behind what the that they say. Those are the relationships that, you know, you can usually stay in, because you don't lose yourself in them, because the other person isn't going to allow you to lose yourself. Just vice versa. You shouldn't be allowing that person to lose themselves. You should be like a constant reminder to them, like, yo, we have a goal to hit. Yo, we got somewhere to get to. You shouldn't be, you know, doubting yourself and being insecure. We can take this anywhere. We can take this where how we want, you know. Same thing with your healing. You got to be willing to go down that path and really do the work, you know. It starts with addressing, of course, what got you to where the you're at, right? So like all those mommy and daddy issues and all that other type of shit, start bringing it up and start addressing it, all right? Start addressing when was the first time you felt like this? When was the first time you experienced this emotion, etc.? You know, one of the very first steps in healing is acknowledgement. It's like something my papa told me. This is African word. It's called Sankofa. It means looking back to go forward. Simply look back for a second. What happened? Why am I in this predicament? You know, sometimes it wasn't your fault. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying don't take accountability and shit like that, but other people play parts in your life that got you to where you got to. Everything was not completely your fault and a what's the word I'm looking for? A consequence of your decision making. Some people did things that caused you to be in certain places, right? So start looking back. What were the things showed to me? What were the things taught to me? How was I talked to? What were the boxes that I was put into, etc.? And then once you acknowledge it, it becomes it's like at least 50% easier for you to make a decision to do something different. If you're sitting in just an unconscious energy and you don't know what the you don't know what the hell you're doing wrong, you're just up. You're probably going to keep up. But the moment somebody's like, yo, you keep up because you're doing that. You're like, oh, that's why I was up. Okay. Wait, okay. I got you. I'm not gonna, you feel me? A whole different like train of thought starts to come. And then once you realize it, you actively work against it. If you know you have a boundary issue, because was pushing over your boundaries, your parents wasn't respecting, you get what I'm saying? Like you just have a real big boundary issue. The next time you feel yourself in a predicament where you feel uneasy and you feel like you need to speak up, practice putting the boundary up, because you know that if you don't put the boundary up in that moment, it's only because of some that happened in the past. You like empower yourself and you challenge yourself to do something different. But then once you started practicing that and shit like that, it ties back to what I was just saying probably like a couple minutes ago. Don't lose yourself. You need to start figuring out, okay, that's what happened. This is what I'm going to do differently. Now, what are the things that I can add into my lifestyle to aid this process? You have to create like a cushion for your healing. So while I'm sitting here and doing all this childhood work, addressing my mommy and daddy issues and all this other type of shit, I'm going to make sure that every day I go get a matcha or a chai, for people who like that. I'm going to make sure every day I go on a walk. I'm going to make sure every day I spend time finding new music and, probably watching some creators that I like, whatever the case may be, whatever, playing the guitar, you get what I'm saying? Whatever it was, you got to create a cushion around it. So while I'm sitting here doing all this heavy spiritual work and shadow work and really just healing, I have something else actively happening in my life on a daily routine that's keeping me centered and that's keeping me aligned. So it doesn't feel like your healing process is this daunting ass journey where all you're doing is feeling the weight of the world. Like, no, we don't got to get there. You get what I'm saying? You got to balance your life. Like what I be telling some of the people on my calls, you got to start reconstructing your life. Like, why are all of your off days on days where your kids are off school? No wonder you feel like you don't have no time to yourself. Switch one of the off days, please. You get what I'm saying? Like, do some shit with your child after school. Why do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you don't even have kids, why are you only going to work and then after you get off work, you just cuddle up with your person? No, maybe you need some time where you get off work, then you have some hours to yourself where you just decompress, you relax, you settle down, you breathe, you center, get some time to yourself, and then go to that person. Maybe you need to spend less time with your person. Maybe y'all need to develop some more deeper senses of autonomy and individuality. You understand what I'm saying? It's different ways that you can go about this, but I swear to God, it's so much easier for you to do it once you acknowledge what was getting you there in the first place. I feel like that's most of the work. Like, truthfully speaking, that's most of the work. Acknowledging what got you there and what you could do better. And then it just comes down to you making the decision in the moment to do something better, because God is going to send real life interactions into your life, and those are going to be the test. It's not going to be no test like, oh, I'm about to have it in a dream and all that. It's going to be like, okay, you say you want better boundaries. Okay, so I'm about to send this person into your job tomorrow and they're about to ask you more questions and take up more time. It's going to be an old person or something like that, and you're going to feel bad because you're like, oh my God, this old lady just wants to talk to me. Okay, fine, but I really have to go, but it's like, damn, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Boundary. God just sent a real life example. Can you tell this lady, hey, I love the conversation that we're having. I really have to go though. It was nice talking to you. And go about your day. Have a boundary, right? God will send you small practices in your life to test what you're asking for and give you the opportunity to build the muscle of what you're asking for. A lot of the things that we're asking for gets built in our day-to-day interactions, our day-to-day disciplines, the things that we go about and the things that we do in our day-to-day life. It's not these big ass lessons like, oh, God's about to hit you with a test. Like when you be seeing those readers and all that type of stuff on your pages, be like, you're about to be hit with a test. You're about to have to make a decision. You'll start, you'll start getting like, oh, super duper, what's the word I'm looking for? Overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, something's big about to happen. I'm about to get evicted. Oh my God, I'm about to lose my job. Okay, no. God was about to send like a little ass kid running in front of you and he was about to ask you for your last piece of gum. and you needed to make a decision whether you were about to eat the gum that you clearly need because your breath smells like hot ass, or give it to this little kid who's probably going to spit it out in the next 5 minutes because his mom doesn't want him to have it in the first place. Get it? Small shit. You start learning how to manage the small shit and instill those boundaries and those principles with the small shit. The big things become easier because the muscle has already been built. So you're not as hesitant to go down certain things. You're not as hesitant to do different things. Goes with anything, business, anything. If you start posting TikToks, if you start posting videos on your phone, when you get a camera, it's really easy to just fall in flow because, my nigga, you done got used to doing what you could with what you have. So when you get more, it's like, okay, bet we can really show out because I knew how to operate without all of this. The basics. Focus on the basics in your life. And I think everything will start turning in your favor. Because I promise you, a lot of things aren't that hard. Like communication, just talk. Some businesses, I'm not gonna act like everything is easy as shit. If you try to get into oil and electricity and shit like that, okay, you might have some, you might be in a comp lobby. But other things, construction, landscaping, content creation, anything, I don't know. It's doable, but you gotta take it off of the big pedestal and make it doable. You gotta make it small enough to where you can actually do it. And then you'll see the results, because results usually come quicker than we think. Not when we want them to, but quicker than we think. So, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man. I love y'all, I love y'all, I love you. If y'all want to ask me anything, of course, send me a DM or go click the link, the personalized video requests. I'll make a whole video just for you if you want me to. Oh yeah, and also I have the one-on-ones and my books too. I released the ebook. I have multiple. I have one for my life story. I have a narcissistic patterns book. I have one for men that was just like learning themselves and shit. I'm really like strengthening my writing bone, my writing muscle. I write every day for years, but actually constructing it into stories and, the packaging it in a way to where it's like it's serving and helping people and stuff like that. That's still something I'm working on. But I've been getting good reviews from it. People been saying it's been helping them. So, yeah, I'm happy about that too. So, yeah, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Peace.